Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you game 2 between Flyleaf and Crowbar. Crowbar being in the top right corner playing our teal Zerg, and in the bottom left we have Flyleaf, our purple Zerg. Game 2 in the matchup between Team Echo and Clan dA. This is a clan battle. They do this weekly. It's actually really neat to see two groups of players who are tight enough to form clans duke it out, because you get to see kind of the thinking game side of it. Should Crowbar be playing against a guy who's, continually macroing up, or is he better suited to deal with the guy who's hyper aggressive just because that's how he plays? Speaking of macroing up, Flyleaf actually lost the first matchup in this by going for a earlier hatchery. I believe it was a hatch first build, and he lost to Crowbar throwing down that tin pool. Very standard there. If you go hatch first, you typically do lose to the more aggressive of the build. However, definitely put up a fight. And it was ultimately Crowbar being able to get two very good snipes on those hatcheries, and Flyleaf's inability to cancel those hatcheries, believing that he was reinforcing fast enough to save those hatcheries, ultimately losing him 600 minerals, a deficit that he never really recovered from, unfortunately. Daybreak is a much smaller map, though, and so hopefully we'll see him take a bit more of a cautious build, and maybe, if given even footing against Crowbar, he'll actually come out on the win. Only time will tell. We're actually past the 10 supply mark, so it looks like it's going to be the more traditional 15 pool, 15 hatch first, something like that, but no cheese. No cheese, no 6 pool, no 10 pool. Both players playing it out. Oh, go throw down an Evo chamber? No, just the spawning pool. Actually, really good control there. Catching that he typed the wrong thing in before he actually threw down the pool. Don't want to lose any valuable time in that. Both players actually, timing-wise, almost neck and neck, 22-23 seconds. Really no deficit at all. The first overlords are arriving, just to scout out that there is no hatch first build out of either player. Crowbar throwing down his hatchery just a second or two in front of Flyleaf, as he has now saved up enough money to throw down his own hatchery. So it is going to be a bit more of a standard, a bit more of a non-aggressive build. The main difference is that Flyleaf has not grabbed any gas, and Crowbar's gas is now on the way. And that's a big difference. Speed is a huge proponent to this matchup, and then banelings even greater so. And Crowbar used those banelings to incredible effect in last game, so hopefully, if he gets up those banelings, that's going to be big trouble for Flyleaf. Flyleaf has now succeeded in grabbing his own gas, but the timing of that tells me that he's not really looking forward to that higher tech. It could be that he's intending on going once again for a macro build, trying for a greedy third, or maybe just more worried about the saturation of his own base. Saturation-wise, 15 for 15 for the harvesters, but we can see that 3 of those harvesters, 4 if you count the one used to make the extractor, is being used for the gas accumulation for Crowbar. And while gas isn't very important, the extra minerals are going to directly translate into extra Zerglings and Queens for Flyleaf, so that's a difference right there, and the difference is really what makes you the winner and the loser on this matchup. Hatchery's going to finish down at the natural for Crowbar. Queen's going to be popping out at his, just now getting started at his main base. The Queen, where is that Queen? Okay, she moseyed on down to the natural for Flyleaf, which is actually going to be pretty neat, because it's going to make it so the overlord placement's going to have to be a little bit more sheepish coming out of Crowbar. Speaking of being sheepish, not at all sheepish with his Zerglings being very aggressive in their scouting. Really can't expect to take out that Queen on their own. One of them does go down, and the Queen scores her first kill as she does her first larva inject. The second Queen's out for Flyleaf, so his economy and his bases are really just hitting their stride. 100%, very nice. And in fact, if you look at the saturation at the natural is beginning to perk up for Flyleaf, whereas it's pretty paltry for Crowbar. And the difference is only 1 or 2 drones, but really in a ZVZ, it's the most tight matchup, where the smallest difference, the smallest baneling hit, can have huge consequences later on. Both players are going for those baneling nests. Both players actually positioning them down at their naturals so that they can provide some extra protection for the spine crawler going up behind that wall. Probably the supply depot is going to go down and replaced by an Evo chamber, just to prevent that wall off, where you could conversely position something else down here. But look at that, look at that saturation for Flyleaf, 31/26, definitely ahead in the economy. But remember, his tech is a little bit behind. Speed has been finished for Crowbar already. and he's continued to mine off with that extra gas, and that gas is going to be used later on for banelings. The zerglings are beginning to poke down at the front door, but with banelings positioned up on the ramp, Crowbar can't hope for a run by. Best he can hope for is to do some damage to those drones. He'll probably have to swing around to the north side because the south that way is shut, and the dead keep it. I'm really excited about the Hobbit. I don't know if you guys are. Oh, speaking of the run by, there goes the banelings. They're going to be doing some massive hits. Oh, 600, 500. Oh my goodness, look at that saturation too. It was heavily in the favor for Flyleaf. Now it's 31 over 26, and Flyleaf is hoping for some counter aggression, but man, that saturation has absolutely been devastated. On the other side of things, Crowbar is throwing down some Evo chambers to shut down that front door, actually completing that wall off 100% with the queen position there, and then buying just a little bit of time so the banelings can be positioned behind that ramp. So even if those zerglings did commit and succeeded in taking down the queen, which is probably the weak point of that, they would have just run into a ridiculous number of banelings behind and very, very tight channels to funnel them into those baneling hits. Flyleaf wisely retreating, and he's going to have to take some major risks here to re-up his macro. He's wasted a lot of larva, wasted a lot of time trying to get that saturation back, and he's closed that gap. 36 over 30, he's back to where he was, but don't discount the fact that Crowbar bought a lot of time by doing a lot of damage with the those banelings, and that is a significant hit there. Crowbar is going to be thinking about what next tech path he needs to walk on. It looks like it's going to be Zerg missiles +1. On the other side of things, a spire has been built for Flyleaf, and this is a pretty cool play. Those mutalisks are going to be very powerful. If the +1 is used for roaches, then those hydralisks could be seen shortly thereafter from Crowbar, and the Evo chambers are already up, so static spore crawlers could be built also. So oh no, a really, really nice play here by Crowbar, doing a really good run by with a zergling, just staying an inch ahead, getting the scout on the spire, but a very nice play by Flyleaf, realizing that the gig is up and that the spire has been scouted, decides to cancel it and get his own roach warren out, which is very, very cool. With the +1 range coming out, I believe Crowbar is going to be getting his own roach warren. There it is. Already begun, actually going to be finishing a couple of seconds before Flyleaf, and Crowbar is using the small advantage that he gained by taking out all those drones to build his own hatchery down at the third. Flyleaf is probably aware of it. I don't think aware as in knows that it actually is there. It's been, oh no, he's got an overlord position directly on top of it. Never mind. Yeah, so he knows about the third. There's not a lot he can do to stop it though. Even if you turned all these guys into banelings, he can't really afford to sacrifice that much into taking it down, and those zerglings are positioned there that even if you got a complete surround on it, it's probably not going to go down. Crowbar going for the infestor pit right next to those roaches. Got to be very careful with those infestors. Brand new ground, really, with the changes that have happened to them. The reflexes required to operate them against zerglings has really increased. Nice play here by Flyleaf, warping in the Overseer cocoon from the Overlord that had taken some damage. Once it pops, he'll have 100% health, and he'll be able to get away, but the timing's really tight. Okay, no, yeah, it succeeds. Very cool. And it's much faster, too. Better to have a live Overlord than a dead one. Even though it costs a little bit of money, it's cheaper than repairing it, because you can't. True story. A lot of banelings behind the natural for Flyleaf, but he's feeling sheepish, proud enough. He's feeling secure enough to take out his own third. Canceling. I wonder what he saw. I'm not 100% sure. It could be that he suspects that these zerglings are moving out, but Crowbar's content to sit back and relax on the lead that he's already secured. 48 over 38. Flyleaf has let that drone count slip away to the advantage of Crowbar, who's probably preparing to saturate his own third base. And yes, there goes those drones transferring down to that third. Flyleaf moving out with 2-3 bundles of joy in the form of a lot of roaches. My goodness. And that's probably why he canceled it. He's decided to do an all-out aggressive push, very much all in, because if Crowbar succeeds in protecting this third, and even if he lets the third goes down but doesn't take too much economic damage from it besides the hatchery, transferring away those drones, good play there. But all those zerglings and roaches from Crowbar are going to go down. His entire force has pretty much been ravaged. Upgrade wise, we can see the 0-0 +1 for the range weapons for Crowbar, but he really doesn't have the numbers. This huge wall of roaches are pushing in from Flyleaf, doing a fantastic amount of damage, and we can see that the resources lost tab are favoring Flyleaf. almost twice as much, to the point of Crowbar forced to pull his drones, which is really just a nail in the coffin, because even though he has that huge harvester advantage, all of these roaches are going to go down, leaving Flyleaf with a field day in that entire saturation. The third has been devastated and ravaged. The hatchery had gone down, and you can pretty much guarantee that these are going to go down too. And especially if the Baneling nest were to go down, then Flyleaf could just mainline Zerglings, and there really isn't anything that Crowbar could do to stop it. So good tap out there by Crowbar. Fantastic play by Flyleaf, realizing that the Spire got scouted, so switch it up to a Roach Warren, which kind of tricked Crowbar into wasting a little bit of money on these Spore Crawlers. And then using those roaches, realizing that you can't really keep track with Crowbar, because Crowbar had 46 to 30 some drones over Flyleaf, and he was taking a third well in advance of Flyleaf. So good job canceling that, taking the aggression there, putting it all out on the line, coming out on top, taking Crowbar by surprise. It was a good play, very good play by Flyleaf, and hopefully that game continues, because we will have the ace match coming up next. I'll see you guys there. Bye.